Hectic 35 minutes of football, Colin O'Rourke.
Yeah, that was a proper game for up until the referee, I think, made one of the real stupid decisions of the year and sent off Alan O'Connor for what I think was absolutely nothing. Up until then, Cork had dominated the game, their pace and power and their poise as well. Now, Tyrone have been a bit out of sorts, but the whole game has been changed by something. I think, this is outrageous what has happened. And then we had another incident here where a 50 given to Tyrone, which was clearly wide. So, officials shouldn't be getting it wrong to the extent that they are at this stage of the championship.
John Bannon got a bit of a booing going off at half-time there, Pat. Obviously a lot of the Cork fans not happy naturally.
Totally deserved.
Oh, Michael, and absolutely totally deserved. And if I was outside there, I'd throw in my couple of boos as well. Can I just say, I used to teach Alan O'Connor. I know what the lad is like. The nicest guy you could ever meet in all your life. There isn't a bad bone in his body. And the fact that he's labelled as being sent off in an All-Ireland semi-final for one, an accidental foul, and the second, a non-existent foul, which was where the referee was codded by a dive from a Tyrone player. I think it's scandalous, and it's scandalous if that incorrect and stupid decision by a referee could cost Cork a place in the All-Ireland final. That's wrong.
Okay, well, look, we'll be having a look at that sending off in a few moments, but we're going to take a short break here on the programme. More from the panel right after that.
Physical contact in the second one. That was a fucking glorified dive by Mulligan, which would get 10 out of 10 in the Olympic diving competition. He codded the referee. He codded the referee.
Okay, well, perhaps we might look at the two of them again. Now, in fairness here to John Bannon, in the first case, I could see maybe why he gave a yellow card, because O'Connor went in feet first. Now, whether he slipped or didn't, he tripped the player with his feet, right? So let's look at that.
I think he just got it wrong,
I wouldn't agree they went in feet first. I think you can see clearly the legs go from under him. No player will go in feet first in a game.
I'm not sure Muggsy took a dive.
No, I agree with you, Michael. I mean, their knees are brushing past each other. He's changing direction.
Jesus, Michael, come on, he's a big grown boy.
Hold on a second, Pat. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, lads. His right foot was barely on the ground. His left foot was in the air. All you need is a wee brush when you're in the air. I don't think he was.
And to compound matters,
and I certainly don't think he was trying to get anybody sent off.
No, I'm not saying that.
But
he did a theatrical dive, which was not a foul. And if you spooled it on that last incident, which was even more farcical, Brian Dooher got the ball, head down, and charged at the Cork defender, and he codded the referee into getting a free foot, and that has happened on 2 or 3 occasions.
John Bannon will say it's all right for you lads going up here looking at replays and camera angles and all this kind of thing. I just saw it once.
We saw it once as well out there, and we haven't changed our mind. We've seen it 2 and 3 and 4 times.
Look, you have to be fair. That is right to some extent, because it does happen very quickly. But you've got to be certain, and there is no way that anyone looking at either of those in real time could have been certain. He was far too easy. He was far too quick to brand the yellow card. You need a bit of judgment. Let me ask you this question: would Pat McEnany or somebody with a bit of sense have pulled out the yellow card on the second occasion?
But you also look at in the context of the game. This is the easiest game in the world to referee. Players are going out and going at it full tilt. There wasn't a bad tackle in the first half, and yet we have a man off.
It's a shame that we should be talking about that, because we had a great 30 minutes of football. We had really good, entertaining, exciting game. Cork were beating Tyrone at Tyrone's own game, moving the ball fast. They were intense and whatever like that. And it's a shame that an unfortunate and a blunder by the referee. We should
be talking about the positives of this first half and what we've seen in the Cork team. They played very well. They got a goal as well, which was kind of really the icing on the cake for them, Colin.
Yeah, well, they played as they have been playing in every game this year. They haven't changed, and they've pushed men forward at every opportunity. And you see Canty moves forward, creates the overlap here, and in the first instance Colin O'Neill tries to shot, and fair play to Goulding. That was it was very difficult to put that ball away, and he did it with a calmness that has been there now in the last game as well. He did the same several times this year. A really top class finish.
It's been a recurrent theme with Tyrone's full back line, with PJ Quinn in particular. He gave away 5 points against Paddy Cunningham. He made the mistake that led to the goal against Kildare, and again there he did something very un-Tyrone like. He's the novice in the pack. He went out and allowed the ball to be fisted over his head, which allowed the thing to develop. But at that stage, really, we were thinking to ourselves, now Michael Murphy's sitting out there, we were thinking to ourselves, Donegal didn't do that badly after all. And they did look awesome. But then, of course, you see the old Tyrone thought processes. Conor Gormley goes down for 4 or 5 minutes to break the momentum. At that stage, they were 7 points behind. And since then, there's been a very different atmosphere of the game, in the game, of course, compounded by the referee's mistake.
We've also seen, Pat, some uncharacteristic things from Tyrone, like Gormley that Joe mentioned there, lost possession at one stage, ended up in a point for Goulding, the kind of things you don't normally see.
Absolutely, but the one thing you how to beat Tyrone is when they're in possession, you've got to mark them man to man tight. You can't leave them overlap, you can't leave them space, and that's the first plan.
Terrible work.
That's the first part of the plan. But the second part of the plan is that Tyrone are very good at defending against predictable attacks where there's a one scoring threat or two scoring threats. With Cork's attack this year, there's great variety to their play. There are 6 forwards who can score, and today all 6 forwards have scored. 5 of them have scored from play, and those Tyrone defenders, particularly the half-back line, when they're on the back foot, are not great defenders.
Okay, time for us to take another break here on the programme. Now, don't go too far away because we have a big prize for you to win. You could be heading off to New York. The details after the break.
They out Tyrone at Tyrone's own game. Intensity, passion, moving the ball quick and long, varying the play. Absolutely superb performance against, with only 14 win for the second half and they finished 11 in the second half. And can I just conclude by saying, at least this puts to bed one argument. Might I suggest, Joe, the team of the decade has 4 All-Irelands, 2 National League. The second best team in the decade, Tyrone. Don't give me any more crap about team of the decade, Tyrone. They're a great All-Ireland champions, a very, very good team. But a great teams put All-Irelands back to back. Great teams put All-Ireland semi-finals back to back. So
don't be petty.
The team of the, so I just want to lay that debate in. Whatever happens next Sunday, team of the decade. Sorry. Thank you.
Joe?
Is this the level that we must descend to, Pat? No, I think that.
Well, in fairness, the point I think that Pat is making is that this was a year where Tyrone really wanted to win that All-Ireland, to put these back to back, to put their seal on the decade, if you like. They just met a better team today.
It was as comprehensive a defeat as you could imagine. Tyrone will never be annihilated, but that was as close to it as you will get. And Cork's precision, the general excellence of their play all over the field. And they found Tyrone out in all the weakness, in all the wee areas of weaknesses. Brian Dooher no longer has the legs. Conor Gormley no longer has the legs. And at half time, obviously, Conor Coonahan reorganised them. And
I'm going to just stop you there for a moment because Conor Coonahan has just come into our studio downstairs. Let's hear from him. He's with Marty Morrissey.
Thank you, Michael. Congratulations, Conor. You're in the All-Ireland final. But what a battle, considering you had 14 men after 29 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, it made it a bit difficult, all right. But, in fairness, the lads, they showed great heart and determination there and ground out a result in the finish. And, we were thankful to get it. I suppose, on days like this semi-final, it's all about trying to get your performance. And, fortunately enough, we managed a level performance that got us over the line today.
They say that a team reflects its manager in so many ways. They had spirit, they had determination, and they had a real physical presence today, Cork, hadn't they?
I think the lads have always had that themselves. That doesn't come from anyone. You can't ingrain that into people. They've great qualities, and they've had a great victory today. But the reality is, they're still only in an All-Ireland final, and if you want recognition at this level, you must achieve the ultimate, and that has yet to come. And that's our next task.
It shows what a quality team you have, though, when you recover from losing a second yellow card for Alan O'Connor. You must have been very disappointed with that.
Yeah, but look, things happen. You have to deal with the situation, and when I say deal with it, the lads dealt with it on the field, and that was the important thing, and didn't lose their focus, kept their shape and worked hard. And if you do that, you're always in there with a chance.
What was your motto for that second half? What did you say to them at half time, considering Tyrone had numerical advantage?
I think we were listening to the bus coming down and someone said something so strong, the song was on, and I suppose we needed something like that. And in fairness, they dug deep and got their just rewards.
Well done today, Conor Coonahan. You've beaten the All-Ireland champions and you're in the All-Ireland final. Well done.
Well, there's no doubt they certainly did dig deep column work in that second half. They also structured themselves very, very cleverly in that second half, the way they sat back on the game, let Tyrone come at them and then stop them.
That's right. They even conceded a lot of short kick-outs and then retreated back into their own half of the field. It's the sort of standard way of combating a situation when you're a man down. But they were absolutely magnificent. The sheer athleticism, I think, took its toll on Tyrone. They had far more speed, and it probably is the end of Tyrone. And I don't go along with this thing, Pat. Teams of the decade, a team of this. Tyrone were magnificent All-Ireland champions. Today they met the sort of hungry fighter who came up and overthrew them. And that is the way it happens, and we probably won't see the likes of Brian Dooher and Brian McGuigan maybe in Croke Park, and they have adorned Croke Park on All-Ireland days and other days. They have been magnificent and they've gone about their business, and Mickey Hart too has been a great ambassador for the game. But Cork today were absolutely brilliant. Maybe people would say they got a bit cynical the second half, but that's the way teams go when you're a man down. They probably were a miscarriage of justice. But overall, Tyrone met, I think, with Father Time today, and a brilliant Cork team.
All right, lads, it's time for another short break. More match reaction and analysis to come.